1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's hosted by Cuz.
Yes. So, do you want to do the opening remarks for this one, please, bro?
Yes, indeed, brother. This is our weekly podcast, The Alien Spaceship, where we try to introduce some interesting topics, hopefully sometimes successfully. My name is Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Emmy Hikins, and he calls me Cuz. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship. So, bruv, over to you. What topic are we discussing today?
Well, in a way, there's kind of three. I think I put on the introduction.
Yes.
Behavior, personality, and what's the last one? Oh, the love conundrum. Yeah, so there's some pretty big subjects there, which we probably won't get through. But I've got quite a lot of difficult questions, and I just hope you've got the answers, Cuz, because I certainly don't. You're a newly married man, so these things should be fresh in your mind. I mean, basically, it's talking about, and I'll ask you the first question in a minute. I think it's where we left off a week or two ago. We all have unique personalities. Every human is different based on various things. So part of the question is going to be, or our discussion, do our individual personalities with the inbuilt biases, perhaps from our genetic makeup, etc., does that affect how we behave in all sorts of situations in life? So in other words, does our personality, it's pretty much, it's 50% pre-formed, basically, from our genetics. So when we're born onto the planet, 50 to 60% actually is there, pretty much embedded in us from our parents, and of course they from their parents, and so on. The other 40 or 50% is pretty much based upon our life experiences, the way we were brought up, all sorts of elements, our environment, the views we form at school, etc., etc. So that kind of makes up the rest of our personality. But as we'll see, really, we are still all different. And one interesting thing that I will just read, which is to do with this, really, evolutionary advantage from a survival standpoint. A tribe made up entirely of identical personalities will be vulnerable. Diverse temperaments ensure that a group had some people who are bold explorers, others who are cautious, detail-oriented planners. And that's quite an important part of it, because we ask ourselves, do we really then have the choice as to whether we are going to be a bold explorer or a very cautious person? And it's a serious point, someone who has, for example, a fear of flying, which I know you do, and a lot of people do, is that kind of, do we get any choice in that? Do we think one day, well, actually, I don't like the idea of flying, so I'm going to be frightened of it? No, I don't think that's what happens. I think some things are inbuilt. So let me ask you the first question. Why do you think we all have different personalities? I mean, I've kind of already answered that question about the genetics and the personality, but maybe given that we are skin and bone, we are flesh and blood, our brains, which are incredible, as we've discussed many times, are basically a complete show of electricity. There's these trillions of electrons zooming about in our brains, in the trillions, quintillions even. So it's very much a physical business, what's going on up there. So how do you think that generates the differences between people, the sense of humor, the cautiousness, as we've said, the bravery? Some people, and I'll touch on in a minute, some extreme sports. Where do people get that from, that they want to risk everything for the buzz?
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's hosted by Cuz. He'll introduce the gang who'll make the show go with a bang, with fun.
For the buzz, the high of, walking on a high building or climbing a rock face with no rope and so on. So first question then is, why do you think we have individual, unique personalities? Is it something more than what I've already said, do you think?
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot more to it. And this there will be things like influences, you know, and these days we have people that we call influencers as well, don't we? That would subconsciously or subliminally put certain things in our heads, and we would sort of go along with it subconsciously. Now there's also the environment. The environment plays a lot of it plays a part in that as well, and in shaping our personality. And there is also peer pressure. I think peer pressure would, for instance, if you're in a group with a certain, and you're trying to fit in, you know, and you're being seen as an outsider, you try your best to want to conform to sort of the sort of things around you. You know, you become like a human chameleon, you know, where, you know, you change your color. Now that might not be bad. Some people do it to garner business, or, you know, be in with the people that the sort of right people that you want to, you think you can progress with, if that makes sense. And some people do it out of fear. You know, they just think, well, I'm not going to be the odd one out. And there's also genetics, like you said. So I think the rest you've covered pretty well.
So that's the thing, isn't it? We are flesh and blood. You wouldn't look inside of us and see some kind of machine, except we could call the brain a machine, obviously, and it's totally incredible. So I wonder why some people, you know, it said some people want to do this, some will do that, and for a balanced society, that kind of has got to happen. So it's like nature or evolution or whatever provides all the necessary components of that. Now, to look at one example of, shall we say, an extreme sport, and that is free diving. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's where you don't dive in as such. You're on a boat, and the object.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show. It's hosted by Cuz. He'll introduce the gang who'll make the show go with a bang.